lesson, we will review the main rules for count and non-count noun use. Remember, nouns describe people like doctor, teacher, student, lawyer, places such as school, work, bank, restaurant, and things like water, sun, love, textbook. For example, in these sentences, we have several nouns. They're underlined in yellow. What's important about nouns is actually there are two types, countable and non-countable nouns. For short, we'll call them count and non-count nouns. With count nouns, that means we can use a, an, one, and numbers because these items are able to be counted. But with non-count nouns, we can't use numbers. They cannot be counted. With count nouns, if you have more than one, then we have to use the plural forms by adding s, es, or ies. Let's review some rules for making plural nouns. Here, V means vowels, which are the letters A, E, I, O, and U, and C represents consonants, which are all the other letters in English. To make most nouns plural, we simply add an S, such as ants, desks, seasons, cars. If there is a vowel and Y, we just add S, like essays, boys, keys, and toys. If we have a word with a vowel and O, we just add S. For example, zoos, videos. If a noun ends in a consonant plus Y, we need to change the Y to I and then add ES, such as libraries, countries, babies, ladies. Words that end in sh, ch, s, and x need ES added. For example, boxes, buses, matches, and taxes. Words that end in a consonant and O, we add ES, like heroes, potatoes, and zeros. But there are also irregular plural nouns that do not follow these patterns, such as children, men, women, mice, and feet. Non-count nouns like these are a little different. Because count nouns are countable, we can use numbers. But we cannot count rice or air, so we can't use numbers in front of non-count nouns. Most non-count nouns fall into a few categories, like very small things that are too difficult to count alone, gases, things you study in school, things that make up the whole of a group of items. Other categories include activities, such as things you do for fun, as well as diseases and abstract ideas. But how do you know if a noun is countable or uncountable? The best way is to check an English dictionary. Nowadays, you can find several free ones online. When you look at the dictionary, next to the listing for noun, you should see a note about whether or not the noun is countable. The reason knowing whether a noun is countable or not is important is because it can affect which verb you choose. The subject, which is often a noun, needs to agree with the verb. What that means is when you have a singular subject, it must agree with a singular verb. When you have a plural subject, you must use a plural verb. What that means is for single count nouns as well as non-count nouns, we need to use singular verbs. With plural count nouns, use plural verbs. But because non-count nouns don't have a plural form, we can't use the plural verb with non-count nouns. What's wrong with these sentences? If you've made these types of mistakes with nouns in English, no one would stop and correct you because in the big picture, they are minor mistakes. But native English speakers will quickly recognize you as a non-native user of English if you make these types of mistakes. Each of these sentences is wrong because of a misunderstanding about the nouns. You see them underlined in green. In this lesson, we'll learn how to avoid common mistakes with count and non-count nouns. Let's look at the first sentence. I found information on the internet. This error is misusing non-count nouns with plural forms because non-count nouns are singular only and do not take a plural s or es form. These nouns are not countable, which means we cannot use s or es on the end to make the words plural. So to correct this sentence, take off the plural s from informations, so we have I found information on the internet. In the sentence, we need a new luggage before the trip, there is a problem with luggage being used with a. We cannot use a or and with non-count nouns. A and and mean one, but non-count nouns cannot be counted. With these non-count nouns, we cannot use numbers in front of them. We also cannot use a or an in front of them. To correct the original sentence, remove a, so we need new luggage before the trip. In the next sentence, where is the scissors, we have incorrect subject-verb agreement in paired nouns. Subject-verb agreement means the subject and verb must both be singular or plural. Paired nouns, however, have two parts, and that makes them plural nouns that need plural verbs. We have several words like this in English. For example, scissors, binoculars, tongs, glasses, also called spectacles, and words that go along with us being able to walk on two legs, like shoes, pants, which includes jeans, and shorts. To correct this type of mistake, replace the singular verb with the plural verb. In this case, we need are instead of is. Another error is seen in this sentence. John doesn't have monies. Money is in the plural. Monies is a special use of a usually non-count noun. Some non-count nouns can be used in plural form, but they often have a special meaning in the plural. Here are some usually non-count nouns, money and currency, that can be used in the plural, but with a very different and specific meaning. If you work in international business, finance, or accounting, you might use these words in the plural when you're talking about international markets and trading international currencies. but if you don't work in those kinds of businesses, you wouldn't use these in the plural. Some other normally non-count nouns might be heard in the plural in conversations. For example, coffee and water. You might hear, "I want a coffee," or "Can we have 3 waters, please?" especially in restaurants when people are ordering. But what the speaker really means is, "I want a cup of coffee, and can we have 3 glasses of water?" In formal situations, and especially in writing, it is best to include cup of or glasses of, and use these words as non-count nouns. We see similar special use with non-count nouns in the words food, cuisine, and wine. You might sometimes hear or see them as plural, meaning a kind or type of. For example, "I enjoy different foods from all over," or "Northern California is known for its many wines." But what the speaker really means is, "I enjoy different kinds of food from all over, and Northern California is known for its many types of wine." Again, the more formal form is to include kinds of or types of and use these words as non-count nouns. Some other non-count nouns used in a similar way include candy and candies, fruit and fruits, meat and meats, cheese and cheeses. So to correct our sentence, we need to take out the plural, monies, and use the singular non-count form, money, because John isn't trading in international currencies. He is simply broke. In this sentence, world news are important to know. There is a mistake with non-count noun endings that use s. There are some non-count nouns that have s at the end, but aren't plural. Here are some other examples. News, as in daily events and information. School subjects like physics, mathematics, statistics. Customs, meaning a Department of Immigration. They're the ones who ask you, "Do you have anything to declare?" when you arrive in a new country. Billiards is a type of ball game you play on a table. Several illnesses end in S, like measles, mumps, and AIDS. Each of these words is non-countable and therefore needs a singular verb following it. For example, news is happening every day. Physics is a difficult subject. Customs requires you to declare money and goods. Billiards appears confusing to me. Measles kills people every year. To correct the mistake, replace are with is in our original example. For this sentence, the data is important. We have the opposite problem. Irregular plural count nouns need to have subject-verb agreement. But some count nouns have irregular plural forms that do not follow the usual pattern of s endings. In English, we have some nouns with very different plural forms like datum, data, criterion, criteria, and phenomenon and phenomena. Then we have some nouns that don't change at all, like sheep, shrimp, and fish. So for instance, the datum is important and the data are important. The criterion has a purpose and the criteria have a purpose. A strange phenomenon occurs every June, and strange phenomena occur every June. When we use these words, the singular form needs a singular verb, and the plural form needs a plural verb. Here are some examples with sheep, shrimp, and fish. Because the singular and plural forms are the same, the verb will tell us if we are talking about one or many. A sheep is sleeping. The sheep are sleeping. There is a shrimp on the floor. There are shrimp on the floor. I bought a new fish for my fish tank. I bought new fish for my fish tank. Also remember to use a or an for singular forms only. Now, here are the corrected sentences from the start of our lesson. The underlined parts of the sentences show where we made changes. So remember, try to avoid these common noun mistakes and you will be more confident using English.